The first ship exploded without a sound. In deep space, there was no fireball. No loud blast. Only light. A bright flash. Then darkness. Captain Ralcor of the Zethri Empire stared at the screen. One of his destroyers had just vanished. No enemy ships detected. No missile warnings. No energy spike. Just, gone. Inside the command bridge, red lights began to flash. "Report," he shouted. "Sir, Ship 14 has been destroyed," an officer said, his voice shaking. "We do not know how." Ralcor narrowed his eyes. That was impossible. The Zethri fleet was one of the strongest in the outer systems. 42 warships. Heavy shields. Long-range scanners. Advanced weapons. They were not afraid of young species. Especially not humans. 3 hours earlier, the fleet had crossed into human space. There had been a warning beacon at the border. A simple message repeating again and again in Galactic Common. "You are entering human space without permission. Turn back immediately." Ralcor had laughed when he heard it. Humans were new to the galactic stage. Only 2 centuries into space travel. Emotional. Diplomatic. Soft. They talked about peace. Trade. Cooperation. They did not look dangerous. Primitive fear tactics, Ralcor had said. Now one of his ships was dust. "Scan everything," he ordered. "I want full spectrum analysis." The crew moved fast. Fingers danced across glowing panels. Scanners stretched across the dark void. Nothing. No enemy signatures. No hidden mines. No cloaked vessels. Space looked empty. Too empty. Another alarm screamed. A second ship disappeared. This time, the screen flickered for half a second before it went black. The officer turned pale. "Captain, we lost Ship 9. "How?" Ralcor demanded. "We don't know." Silence filled the bridge. Even the air felt heavy. The fleet had entered human territory expecting weakness. Instead, they found something worse. Silence. Ralcor stood up slowly. "Open communication channels," he said. "To who, sir?" the officer asked. "Anyone." A transmission signal was sent across the system. There was no answer. Then suddenly, the main screen changed. White text appeared on black background. The same message as before. But this time, it was not from a beacon. It was coming from inside their own communication system. "You are still inside human space. Turn back immediately." The crew froze. "That signal, it is inside our network," a technician whispered. "They are in our system." Ralcor's chest tightened. How is that possible? Zethri cyber defense was nearly impossible to break. Only advanced empires could attempt such a thing. Humans were not supposed to be that advanced. Another explosion. A third ship vanished. This time the fleet formation broke. Several commanders began shouting over comms. "We are under attack." From where? Shields never activated. Ralcor clenched his fists. Form defensive pattern. Activate full combat readiness. The ships rearranged into battle formation. Weapons charged. Shield strengthened. Still nothing on scanners. No visible enemy. No direction of attack. Just death. A young officer spoke quietly. "Sir, maybe we should retreat." Ralcor glared at him. "Retreat from what? There is nothing there." As if answering him, the lights flickered again. Another ship disappeared. Now panic spread across the bridge. "This is impossible," someone shouted. Ralcor looked at the star map. They were only 5 light minutes past the human border. That meant something terrifying. Humans could have attacked at the border. They could have stopped the fleet before entry. But they did not. They allowed them to come deeper. Why? Ralcor felt a cold realization. They were not being attacked randomly. They were being studied. Tested. Measured. Another message appeared on the screen. This time, it was different. No simple warning. No repeated text. Just one line. You were warned. A voice followed. Calm. Controlled. Human. Zethary Fleet. You have violated territorial law. Power down your weapons and prepare for escort. Escort? Ralcor felt anger rise in him. Identify yourself, he shouted. There was a short pause. Then the answer came. United Human Defense Command. Still, no human ships appeared on screen. Ralcor swallowed. How many ships are attacking us? He demanded. The human voice replied without emotion. You assume we are attacking. Another ship vanished. Now only 38 remained. The human voice continued. You entered our space without permission. We do not respond with anger. We respond with action. Ralcor realized something terrible. They were not fighting a fleet. They were fighting a system. And the system was alive. Outside the bridge windows, space remained silent. Dark. Empty. But no one on that ship believed it was empty anymore. Because somewhere in that darkness, humans were watching. And they had been ready. From the very beginning. Captain Ralcor had faced war before. He had fought pirates. He had crushed rebellions. He had battled 2 minor empires. But this was different. There was no enemy in sight. Only silence, and loss. 38 ships remained. Forgone without a trace. The human voice had stopped speaking. That silence was worse than threats. Prepare emergency warp, Ralcor ordered. If we cannot see them, we leave. Navigation officers worked fast. Coordinates were entered. Engines began charging. A countdown appeared on the screen. 10 seconds to warp. 9. 8. Then. The engines shut down. Not failed. Shut down. The lights on the bridge flickered blue for a moment. Captain, a technician whispered, fear in his voice. Warp system is locked. Locked? Ralcor snapped. By what? External control override. The entire bridge went quiet. Humans had not only entered their communication system. They were now inside their ship control. That is impossible, Ralcor said, but his voice was weaker now. Zethary ships were built with isolated systems. No foreign network should access warp controls. Yet someone had. Outside, another destroyer vanished. No explosion this time. Just a brief ripple in space. Then nothing. Show me the last sensor reading. Ralcor shouted. The screen replayed the final seconds. The ship had drifted normally. Then space around it bent slightly, like water moving. A thin line of light appeared for less than 1 second. Then the ship collapsed inward. Gone. Not destroyed. Removed. The bridge crew stared in horror. They are not firing weapons, an officer said slowly. They are, folding space. Ralcor felt a chill. That kind of technology was rare. Only ancient civilizations were rumored to use it. Humans were young. How could they have this? Another message appeared on the screen. This time, it showed a map. Their fleet was highlighted in red. Around them were faint blue circles. Hundreds of them. Hidden defense points. They had not entered empty space. They had entered a net. The human voice returned. Calm as before. You crossed our border without permission. You ignored our beacon. You dismissed our warning. Ralcor clenched his jaw. We came only to observe, he replied. A short pause. Then the human answered. You came with 42 warships. Ralcor had no response. The truth was simple. They did not come for peace. They came to test human strength. To see if this young species could be pushed. Now they had their answer. Power down your weapons, the human voice said again. Further resistance will result in total fleet loss. One of the Zethari commanders shouted over comms. We cannot surrender to humans. They are unproven. As if the universe wanted to correct him. Another cruiser vanished. 36 ships now. Ralcor stared at the blue circles surrounding them. Each one was a hidden defense platform. Stealth. Silent. Precise. Humans had built an invisible wall around their territory. And the Zethari had walked straight into it. Captain, the navigation officer said carefully, our long-range scanners show something. What? A gravity well forming behind us. The screen zoomed out. Space behind the fleet was bending. Slowly. Like a door closing. They are sealing the exit, someone whispered. Ralcor understood now. Humans had allowed them to cross the line. But they controlled everything beyond it. Entry had been easy. Leaving would not be. Suddenly, the main view screen changed again. For the first time since entering human space. A ship appeared. It was smaller than expected. Dark gray. Smooth design. No sharp edges. No glowing weapons. It looked simple. Almost peaceful. But the energy readings were terrifying. Its power output was greater than 3 Zethari battleships combined. That is impossible, the weapons officer muttered. The human ship did not raise weapons. It did not threaten. It simply floated there. Watching. The human voice now came directly from that ship. This is Commander Elias Ward of the United Human Defense Command. His tone was calm. Professional. You have 2 choices. Ralcor stood tall. State them. Power down and accept escort out of our territory. You will leave without further loss. A pause. Or continue to resist. Another Zethari frigate vanished behind them. 35 ships. The message was clear. Humans did not shout. They demonstrated. Ralcor felt something he had not felt in many cycles. Doubt. He had believed humans were soft. Peaceful meant weak. Diplomatic meant afraid. Now he saw the truth. Humans were peaceful because they did not need to prove power. Their power was already prepared. Hidden. Waiting. Commander Ward spoke one final sentence. You crossed into human space without permission. The human ship's engines glowed softly. And it was your last mistake. The bridge of the Zethari flagship fell into complete silence. For the first time since the invasion began. Captain Ralcor understood. They were not explorers. They were prey. And the hunt had only just begun. Captain Ralcor did not answer immediately. 35 ships remained. 7 had vanished. Not destroyed in battle. Not burned in war. Removed. Like mistakes erased from a page. The human ship still floated in front of them. Silent. Waiting. Commander Elias Ward did not look angry. His face on the screen was calm. Almost bored. Ralcor hated that calm. We will not surrender, Ralcor said firmly. Zethari fleets do not bow. There was no reaction from the human commander. Only a small nod. Understood. The screen went dark. For 2 seconds, nothing happened. Then 3 ships disappeared at once. No countdown. No warning. No sound. One moment they were there. Next moment, empty space. The Zethary bridge erupted in panic. They are targeting command vessels. Our formation is breaking. Shields are useless. Ralcor grabbed the console. Fire at the human ship. All weapons charged. Plasma cannons. Kinetic missiles. Long-range beams. They fired everything. Bright streams of energy crossed the dark void. The human ship did not move. The attacks hit. And passed through. Like striking smoke. "What is that?" the weapons officer shouted. "Decoy projection," a technician answered quickly. "It is not physically there. The real ship was somewhere else. Hidden. Watching." Another ripple in space. Another ship gone. 31 left. Ralcor felt his confidence breaking. "They are not fighting us directly," he whispered. "They are hunting us." The human voice returned through every speaker on the fleet. Not loud. Not aggressive. Clear. "Zethary fleet, you misunderstand our doctrine." On the screen, a tactical map appeared. Blue lines formed around the remaining ships. You expect battle lines. Fleet against fleet. One more cruiser vanished. We do not fight that way. Small blue lights began appearing across the map. Hundreds. Thousands. Hidden drones. Defense platforms. Microships. The entire system was alive. Every asteroid. Every empty space. Every orbit. Weapons were built into everything. Ralcor realized something terrible. This was not a fleet defense. This was an ecosystem of war. Humans had turned their entire star system into a weapon. Another officer cried out. "Captain! Internal systems are being overridden." Lights flickered again. Non-essential systems shut down. Weapon power dropped by 20%. "They are inside our systems again." The human voice spoke calmly. "We advised you to power down." 2 more ships vanished. 29 left. Ralcor's breathing grew heavier. His empire had believed humans were slow. Focused on trade. On diplomacy. But now he understood. Humans built quietly. They prepared quietly. And when tested, they responded completely. A new signal appeared. Not from the human ship. From deep space behind them. Another human vessel emerged. Larger. Darker. No lights except a thin blue glow across its surface. Energy readings were extreme. "That is a battleship," the weapons officer whispered. "No," another officer corrected slowly. "It is something else." The ship did not fire. It did not threaten. It simply positioned itself behind the Zethary fleet. Blocking escape. The gravity distortion behind them grew stronger. Warp space was unstable. There would be no retreat. Commander Ward appeared again on screen. "This is your final opportunity." His voice remained steady. "You entered our space as a show of strength." Behind Ralcor, another ship collapsed inward. 28 left. "You believed youth means weakness." 2 more ships gone. 26. "You believed silence means fear." Another ripple. 25. The Zethary officers looked at their captain. For the first time, they were not waiting for orders. They were waiting for survival. Ralcor stared at the human commander. "You could have destroyed us instantly," he said. "Yes," Ward replied. "Then why this?" A pause. Then the human answered. Because the galaxy watches. Ralcor felt his stomach tighten. This is not war, Ward continued. This is demonstration. At that moment, every remaining Zethary ship received a transmission. Live feed. From outside their hulls. They saw it clearly now. Small human stealth vessels surrounding each of them. Close. Very close. So close they could have touched them. Humans had been there the entire time. Invisible. Waiting. A final message appeared across every Zethary screen. Human space is defended by certainty, not anger. Another ship vanished. 24 left. Ralcor finally understood. They were not fighting humans. They were inside human territory. And in human territory, everything hunts. He looked around his bridge. Fear was no longer hidden. It was everywhere. The human commander gave one last statement. Zethary fleet. You are not facing a navy. Behind the fleet, space twisted again. You are facing a civilization that prepares. 2 more ships disappeared. 22 remained. The hunt was not fast. It was controlled. Measured. Intentional. And Captain Ralcor realized something worse than defeat. Humans were not angry. They were patient. And patience was far more dangerous. 22 ships remained. Captain Ralcor stared at the tactical screen. His fleet was no longer in formation. It was scattered. Broken. Surrounded. But the humans had stopped removing ships. For the first time since entering human space. Nothing vanished. The silence returned. That silence was not mercy. It was control. Commander Elias Ward appeared again. His face was steady. Calm. No pride. No anger. Zethary fleet, he said. You now understand our capability. Ralcor did not answer. He understood too well. We will ask one final time, Ward continued. Power down your weapons. Behind the Zethary fleet, the massive human battleship moved slightly. Not threatening. Just adjusting position. A reminder. Ralcor looked at his officers. Their eyes were filled with fear. Not fear of death. Fear of being erased. Slowly, Ralcor gave the order. Power down all primary weapons. One by one, the Zethary ships dimmed. Energy cannons cooled. Missile ports closed. Shields lowered. The system remained quiet. No more ships disappeared. Commander Ward nodded slightly. A wise decision. Suddenly, something unexpected happened. Human ships decloaked fully around the Zethary fleet. Not hundreds. Thousands. Small patrol ships. Stealth fighters. Defense drones. Orbital platforms. They had been there the entire time. Watching. Waiting. Ready. The Zethary bridge crew stared in shock. This is not a border defense, one officer whispered. Ralcor finally understood the full truth. Human space was not protected by fleets. It was protected by layers. Every planet. Every moon. Every asteroid field. All connected. All armed. All controlled by one system. A system that thought faster than any organic mind. Commander Ward spoke again. Many empires expand by fear. They conquer systems. They show power through invasion. He looked directly into the camera. Humans learned something different. On screen, a historical recording appeared. An old human colony whirled under attack. Alien ships burning cities. Civilians running. Fire everywhere. Ralcor watched in silence. That was 2 centuries ago, Ward said. We were weak. The recording changed. Human fleets in early battles. Losses. Retreats. Struggle. We survived, Ward continued. Not because we were stronger. But because we adapted. The screen shifted again. Construction platforms. Defense satellites. Warp disruption fields. Hidden weapons built inside asteroids. We stopped chasing enemies, Ward said calmly. Instead, we made it impossible to attack us. Ralcor felt a heavy weight in his chest. You turned your entire territory into a fortress, he said quietly. Ward gave a small nod. Yes. Another human ship moved closer to the Zethary flagship. Still not firing. Just presence. We do not expand through conquest, Ward continued. We expand through cooperation. Trade routes appeared on screen. Allied species. Peace treaties. But we defend through certainty. The tactical map zoomed out. Ralcor saw something shocking. Beyond this system. More blue markers. Every human-controlled star system was built the same way. Layered defense. Interconnected networks. Instant response. If the Zethary had attacked deeper, they would not have faced one fleet. They would have faced an entire civilization reacting as one. Ralcor lowered his head slightly. You let us enter, he said slowly. Yes, Ward replied. Why? Because if we destroyed you at the border, your empire would believe it was luck. The words hit hard. But now, Ward continued, you understand. Silence filled the bridge again. The remaining 22 Zethary ships floated helplessly. Alive. Only because humans allowed it. Ward gave the final instruction. One of your ships will be released. Ralcor looked up sharply. Released? Yes. Why spare one? Ward's expression did not change. Because messages travel faster than fleets. The Zethary officers exchanged looks. They understood. Humans did not need to conquer the Zethary Empire. They needed them to speak. To tell the galaxy what happened here. Another human vessel approached one damaged Zethary cruiser. Tractor beams activated. Not violent. Controlled. You will be escorted to the border, Ward said. The rest of your fleet will remain here until disarmament protocols are complete. Ralcor swallowed. You humiliate us. Ward shook his head slightly. No, Captain. We educate you. The words hurt more than any weapon. Outside, thousands of human ships remained in perfect formation. Silent guardians. Not celebrating. Not cheering. Just watching. Human space was not loud. It did not shout warnings. It simply enforced them. Ralcor finally spoke, his voice low. The galaxy believes humans are peaceful. Ward answered without hesitation. We are. A pause. But peace is not weakness. The damaged Zethary cruiser began moving toward the border under human escort. It would carry the story home. The truth. That human space was not empty. Not weak. Not young. It was prepared. And preparation was more powerful than aggression. As the cruiser disappeared toward the border, Commander Ward gave one final statement. Captain Ralcor. Ralcor met his gaze. Next time you see a human warning beacon. Ward's eyes were steady. Believe it. The screen went dark. And for the first time since crossing the border, the Zethary understood why no one enters human space uninvited. The damaged Zethary cruiser moved slowly toward the human border. It was not chased. It was not attacked. It was escorted. 3 human ships followed at a distance. Not to threaten. to ensure the message survived. Inside the cruiser, silence filled every hallway. Crew members moved carefully. No one spoke loudly. No one argued. They had entered human space with pride. They were leaving with understanding. Captain Ralcor stood on the command bridge of his captured flagship, watching the transmission feed. He had been allowed to speak with his Empire's High Council. Not as a victor. Not as a commander. But as a witness. The live feed activated. The Zethari High Council appeared on screen. Tall figures. Calm faces. Confident eyes. They had expected a victory report. Instead, they saw the damage behind him. Empty fleet markers. Destroyed command codes. Human ships surrounding them like silent stars. "Report, Captain," the High Chancellor demanded. Ralcor did not stand tall this time. He spoke slowly. "We crossed into human space without permission." The council members exchanged looks. "We are aware," the Chancellor replied. "Why have you not returned?" Ralcor took a breath. "Because humans allowed us to enter." Confusion filled the council chamber. "Explain." Ralcor continued. "They did not fight us with fleets." He paused. "They fought us with preparation." The live tactical replay appeared behind him. Zethari ships vanishing. Warp fields blocked. Systems overridden. Human vessels appearing from nowhere. No chaos. No shouting. Only control. The High Council watched in silence. "They could have destroyed us instantly," Ralcor said. "They chose not to." "Why?" the Chancellor asked quietly. "Because they wanted us to understand." The human defense map appeared on screen. Layered systems. Interconnected networks. Hidden platforms across every star. The Chancellor's confidence faded. "How many ships did we lose?" 20. A heavy silence fell. "And how many human ships were lost?" another council member asked. Ralcor hesitated. "None." The truth was simple. Humans had not suffered. They had demonstrated. "They do not expand through conquest," Ralcor said. "They expand through alliances." Trade routes appeared. Multiple alien species working with humans. Peace agreements. Shared technology. "But if attacked," he continued, "their entire civilization responds as one." The High Chancellor leaned forward. "Can we defeat them in full war?" Ralcor looked directly into the camera. "No." That single word echoed through the chamber. The Chancellor slowly leaned back. The Zethari Empire had always believed strength came from numbers. From fleet size. From visible power. Humans proved something different. Strength came from readiness. From unity. From patience. The human escort ships guided the damaged cruiser to the border. As it crossed back into neutral space, a final transmission activated. Commander Elias Ward appeared again. But this time, the message was not only for the Zethari. It was broadcast across open galactic channels. Every listening empire could hear it. Ward's voice was calm. "Human space is open to trade. Open to friendship. Open to cooperation." A short pause. "It is closed to aggression." Behind him, thousands of human ships held perfect formation. Silent. Orderly. Disciplined. "We do not seek war," Ward continued. "But we do not fear it." The transmission ended. Across the galaxy, governments replayed the footage. Empires analyzed the defense systems. Military leaders studied the tactics. And one conclusion became clear. Human borders were not lines on a map. They were promises. Weeks later, the Zethari Empire officially issued a public statement.